Any moment from now, President Bola Tinubu will take the stage at the 78th United Nations General Assembly holding in New York, United States of America. President Tinubu joined world leaders in the annual summit where discussions are held on how to make the world a better place. This is the first time President Tinubu will be attending the assembly as leader of Africa's most populous country. While we wait for that moment, let's take a guess at what the president will be saying and the tone of his delivery. To help us do this is the Acting Director of Research and Studies, Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Dr. Efem Ubi. Thank you very much, Doctor, for giving us your time. This is a big moment for the president and a chance to announce himself on the world stage. How do you think he will approach this speech?
Thank you for having me. If you have listened to our president right from the very first day he was inaugurated into office, he has always announced himself and the country in a good approach. He has been using good approaches, in terms of his speeches, the focus of his speeches. The issues that Nigeria will focus on, has always been key in most of the speeches he makes at international fora. If you listen to the speech at ECOWAS when he was sworn in as the president of Nigeria and actually won the chairmanship of ECOWAS, you find out that the speech has always focused on issues of insecurity in Africa. The speech has also focused on democracy, the spread of democracy, with regards to the fact that Nigeria as a country, will not be tolerant of unconstitutional change of government. Issues of climate change has also cropped up in many of his speeches. Debt and debt relief issues has also come up in some of the speeches he has made. Insecurity, not only in Nigeria, but across West Africa, and most precisely the Sahel, has featured prominently in his speech. And much recently, the military coups that has ravaged a few countries in West Africa and some countries of the continent at large, has always featured. And so we are not expecting him to speak on issues that are not challenges to Africa and the globe as a whole. I also think that issues of multilateralism will feature prominently in his speech, because most of the challenges that will be mentioned at the 78th UNGA, if you have listened to other speeches, I think these are issues that will have to be managed, solutions looked for by multilateral, at a multilateral level, concerted effort by the international community.
Doctor, you've actually touched on almost all the issues that, the presidency has said might likely come up. But there's one specific area I want you to speak on. We know that homegrown terrorism is a problem for the nation. And then we have these really worrying economic downturn occasioned by years of mismanagement. Obviously, the country has a number of challenges. You've highlighted some of them, but do you foresee that the president will be dwelling on these challenges so much at the summit?
I guess so. He will dwell on these challenges, especially issues that will have to do with economics, international economics, as well as the domestic economy. Don't forget that the whole idea of international economic relations and revolves around building your own domestic economy. So these are issues that will feature prominently. Debt relief and debt sustainability, because if you also, like I said, if you listen to many of the speeches that has been made by some of the world leaders, you find out that they are actually talking about a debt, system that will actually not be so much of a problem for the developing world. And so we, as a country, we are also looking for that kind of relief, where we will not be indebted to such a large sum that we cannot, we cannot sustain, and not to mortgage the future. Now you talk about homegrown terrorism. Is it terrorism? It's not really about whether it is homegrown or not, because if you look at the issues of terrorism in Nigeria and across the Sahel and also in many parts of West Africa, these are terrorist groups that are coming from the outside, and trying to build new cells within the country. Right now, as we speak right now, the Gulf of Guinea is suspected that, and even in Benin Republic, that cells are being established there by this global terrorist group, the Al Qaeda, the Maghreb, the ISIS, ISWAP, and all that. So these are issues that Nigeria or countries within West Africa can't manage alone. So we need concerted effort. We need the superpowers and emerging economies to play a great role in looking for solutions to terrorist challenges that Africa is suffering from. And so the president will have to really, bring that out in his speech.
Well, we're still expecting that we'll get the alert that he is on the podium. But before we get there, the president wears more than one cap. He wears two, as president of Nigeria and also the leader of the sub-regional body ECOWAS. Some countries in the sub-region are on a face-off with their former colonial masters from the West. On which side will the president stand? Do you think he will stand with the African brothers resisting the influence of France, or insist that democracy is the only acceptable form of government, or just stand on the middle or in the middle?
I really don't think the president, Nigeria, because he represents Nigeria now, will stand on the side of any of the parties. But you see, if you have followed Nigerian foreign policy over the years, it has been pivoted on neutrality. But you see, if you listen to the speech of Alhaji Tafawa Balewa, our first prime minister, he said, that when it comes to the issues of peace, Nigeria will not be aligned. Especially when he talks about the non-aligned posture of Nigeria's foreign policy, Nigeria will not align. But when it comes to the issue of peace, Nigeria will align on the side of peace. And so, invariably, I feel that the president will always look for what will benefit Africa. Our foreign policy is African-centered. So whatever will be of benefit and positive impact to Africa is what we will stand for. And like you rightly opined, or that like he has also made mention in many of his speeches that we are going to focus on the spread of democracy. If you listen to the recent foreign policy posture of the administration, the 4Ds that was put forward, democracy is first and foremost. The country will want to spread democracy across Africa, and in doing that, we have to also show ourselves as the epitome of democracy within Africa. And so the president will not align with any country, but will try to make sure that democracy thrives in many of these countries where military purchases taking place.
Dr. Ubi, thank you very much for speaking with us. I'd really love to hear your thoughts after his speech. We're hoping we can reconnect with you. Thank you for now.
Thank you.